In the shadowy recesses of human history, where the line between myth and reality often blurs, there exists a spectral figure that has haunted our collective imagination for centuries. This enigmatic character, known as the Grim Reaper, has long been associated with death and the afterlife, but its origins are shrouded in a fascinating tapestry of cultural evolution, folklore, and symbolism. To truly understand the origins of the Grim Reaper, we must embark on a journey through time, traversing the annals of ancient civilizations and the corridors of medieval Europe. Our quest begins in the cradle of civilization, Mesopotamia, where the earliest seeds of the Reaper myth may have been sown. In this ancient land, death was often personified by deities such as Ereshkigal, the Sumerian goddess of the underworld, and Nergal, the god of plague and death. These divine figures wielded the power of life and death, serving as harbingers of doom for mortals. From the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, our journey takes us to ancient Egypt, where Osiris, the god of the afterlife, held sway. With his distinctive jackal-headed appearance, Osiris presided over the judgment of souls and their passage to the underworld. His role in guiding the dead to the afterlife bears a striking resemblance to the Grim Reaper's modern-day duties. As we journey onward through the tapestry of time, we encounter the ancient Greeks, who introduced us to Thanatos, the personification of death. Thanatos was often depicted as a handsome young man with wings, and he played a pivotal role in ferrying souls to the afterlife. It is here that we begin to see the emergence of the winged figure, a motif that would later find its way into the iconography of the Grim Reaper. Our quest now leads us to medieval Europe, where the Christian Church held a dominant influence over both spiritual and secular matters. It is in this crucible of belief systems that the Grim Reaper, as we know it, began to take shape. In the bubonic plague-ridden 14th century, a time marked by widespread death and despair, the Reaper's image evolved to reflect the harsh realities of life during the Middle Ages. The Black Death, with its grim harvest of lives, served as a chilling backdrop for the Reaper's emergence as a skeletal figure cloaked in a tattered robe, wielding a scythe. This macabre image symbolized the relentless and indiscriminate nature of death, capable of cutting down both peasant and noble alike. The scythe, an agricultural tool turned symbol of mortality, reinforced the notion that death was an inescapable harvest. As the Reaper's image solidified, he was given various monikers in different cultures. In England, he became known as the Black Rider or King of Terrors. In Germany, he was often referred to as the Tod or der Sensenmann, meaning the Reaper with a scythe. Across Europe, the Grim Reaper became a universal symbol of mortality, a harbinger of the inevitable end. The Grim Reaper, through its haunting symbolism, also found its way into art, literature, and popular culture. From the works of the Danse Macabre to the writings of the Brothers Grimm, this ominous figure continued to captivate and terrify generations of people. In conclusion, the origins of the Grim Reaper are a complex tapestry woven from the threads of ancient Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Greek beliefs, as well as the stark realities of medieval Europe. Through a combination of cultural influences, historical events, and evolving iconography, the Grim Reaper emerged as a powerful and enduring symbol of death's inevitability. It serves as a reminder that in the face of mortality, we must confront the mysteries of life and the great unknown that lies beyond. The Grim Reaper, that timeless and foreboding embodiment of death, is a figure shrouded in mystery, and yet its motivations and goals, if indeed it possesses any, have been the subject of speculation and interpretation throughout the ages. Imagine for a moment that the Grim Reaper possesses an elusive consciousness, a sentient force guiding the inexorable march of death. If we were to venture into the realm of metaphor and symbolism, we might glimpse the Reaper's motivations in the delicate dance between life and death itself. In this ethereal narrative, the Reaper's primary goal could be seen as maintaining the delicate equilibrium of the universe. In this fanciful tale, the Grim Reaper could be viewed as a cosmic caretaker, ensuring that the balance between life and death is preserved. It would not seek to sow chaos or suffering but would instead serve as a relentless force of nature, enforcing the natural order. In this sense, it could be argued that the Reaper's wants and goals are rooted in maintaining the harmony of existence, much like a gardener tending to a vast and intricate garden. The Reaper's scythe, often viewed as a tool of destruction, could be reimagined as an instrument of transition. In this narrative, the Reaper uses the scythe to gently sever the ties of earthly existence, guiding souls from the realm of the living to the afterlife. The act of reaping becomes a solemn duty, one that demands precision and care to ensure a smooth transition for departing souls. While this interpretation casts the Grim Reaper in a somewhat benevolent light, it also underscores the inevitability of death itself. The Reaper does not want or seek death in the way mortals might desire life, love, or success. Instead, it carries out its duties with a detached sense of purpose, neither celebrating nor mourning the passing of souls. Of course, these musings exist in the realm of symbolism and imagination, for the Grim Reaper is not a sentient being with wants and goals as we understand them. It is, at its core, a metaphorical representation of mortality, a reflection of our human fascination with the great unknown that awaits us all. In the grand tapestry of human mythology, the Grim Reaper serves as a stark reminder that death is an inevitable part of life. Whether viewed as a cosmic caretaker, a symbol of transition, or a harbinger of the unknown, its significance lies in the questions it raises about our own mortality and the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of existence. So, as we contemplate the Reaper's purpose, we are ultimately led to contemplate our own mortality and the profound existential questions that have haunted humanity since time immemorial. The Grim Reaper, known by various names and embodiments, has been a ubiquitous presence in cultures worldwide, each culture infusing this spectral figure with its unique beliefs, customs, and symbolism. Here, we embark on a global journey through the many faces and facets of death personified. In Western cultures, the Grim Reaper is often depicted as a skeletal figure draped in a tattered black robe, wielding a scythe. This haunting image has been popularized in art, literature, and folklore, serving as an enduring symbol of death's inevitability. The scythe, a tool of agriculture, symbolizes the reaping of souls, emphasizing death's inescapable nature. In this context, the Reaper serves as a stark reminder of mortality. In Aztec mythology, Mictlantecuhtli is the god of the underworld, often portrayed as a skeletal figure adorned with owl feathers and a skull-like face. He presided over the afterlife and played a central role in the Mesoamerican beliefs surrounding death and the passage of souls. Hinduism introduces Yama, the god of death, who judges souls after their passing. Unlike the Grim Reaper's grim demeanor, Yama is depicted with regal attributes, reflecting the belief in a more orderly and structured cycle of reincarnation. In Japan, the Grim Reaper's counterpart is the Shinigami, a death spirit or god responsible for escorting souls to the afterlife. Shinigami are not always malevolent. They are sometimes depicted as neutral beings performing their duty with detachment. In African folklore, Anansi the spider is a trickster figure who sometimes attempts to outwit death. These tales reflect the cultural diversity of death beliefs on the African continent, where death is often seen as a transition rather than an end. The Celtic goddess Morrigan, associated with death and battle, represents a complex figure of sovereignty, magic, and prophecy. She is a reminder that death, in Celtic tradition, is not solely about endings but also about transformation and rebirth. In Slavic folklore, the goddess Marzanna is linked to death and winter. A straw effigy of Marzanna is often burned or drowned in a river during spring festivals, symbolizing the end of winter and the triumph of life over death. In Mexico, death is celebrated with vibrant festivities during Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. Calicas and calaveras, skeletons and skulls, are common symbols, representing the belief that the deceased continue to exist in the afterlife and should be remembered joyously. In Tibetan Buddhism, the wrathful deity Yama Dharmaraja judges souls after death. However, death is viewed as a step on the path to reincarnation, and Yama plays a role in the soul's journey rather than being a malevolent figure. Many Native American tribes have their own death beliefs and customs. For some, death is seen as a transformation and a return to the earth, emphasizing the cyclical nature of life and death. In conclusion, the Grim Reaper's manifestations and interpretations are as diverse as the cultures that have conceived of it. Whether serving as a reminder of life's transience, or as a guide to the afterlife, these personifications of death reflect the rich tapestry of human beliefs and the enduring fascination with the mysteries that lie beyond the mortal realm. The concept of vulnerabilities for the Grim Reaper, as a symbolic representation of death, is not a prominent feature in mythology or folklore. The Grim Reaper is typically portrayed as an implacable force, embodying the inevitability of mortality rather than having weaknesses or vulnerabilities in the traditional sense. However, some interpretations of the Grim Reaper's symbolism and role in various cultures may offer insights into perceived vulnerabilities. One could argue that the Grim Reaper's ultimate vulnerability is mortality itself. Despite its fearsome image, the Reaper is a reminder that even death itself is not exempt from the cycle of life and death. In some philosophical interpretations, the Reaper could be seen as a symbolic representation of the impermanence of all things, including death. The Grim Reaper's symbolism varies widely across cultures. Some cultures view death as a natural part of life, while others may fear it or see it as an adversary. These cultural interpretations shape the way people perceive the Reaper. In this sense, the vulnerability lies in the human psyche and the fear of the unknown rather than any inherent weakness of the Reaper. If we were to stretch the concept of vulnerabilities metaphorically, one could argue that the Grim Reaper's vulnerability lies in humanity's innate resistance to death. People invent various methods, rituals, and beliefs to cope with the fear of mortality. These attempts to evade or delay death could be seen as a form of vulnerability in the face of the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper's image has evolved over time, adapting to cultural shifts and changing beliefs. In some cases, this adaptability could be seen as a vulnerability, as it implies that the Reaper's significance may diminish or transform in response to societal changes. In the end, the concept of vulnerabilities for the Grim Reaper is more symbolic and philosophical than a traditional weakness that can be exploited. The Grim Reaper remains a powerful and enduring symbol, reminding humanity of the impermanence of life and the mysteries that surround death. But it is not a figure with conventional vulnerabilities like those found in folklore or mythology for more tangible beings. While the Grim Reaper is a symbolic representation of death, there have been instances in history where eerie and unexplained events led people to believe they had encountered something akin to the Grim Reaper. One such event took place in England during the early 20th century, sending shivers down the spines of those who witnessed it. In the summer of 1923, in the London neighbourhood of Kentish Town, an unsettling series of events unfolded. Residents reported a mysterious figure clad in a dark, hooded cloak, lurking around the area. This figure bore an uncanny resemblance to the Grim Reaper of folklore. The sightings began innocently enough, with whispers of a cloaked stranger pacing along the fog-shrouded streets at night. However, what truly gripped the community with fear were the ominous predictions that followed these apparitions. Witnesses claimed that the mysterious figure would point at specific houses, foretelling death's visitation. Terrifyingly, in several instances, individuals who were pointed at by the Grim Reaper-like figure passed away shortly thereafter. The belief that this sinister presence could predict impending death spread like wildfire, and many residents began to fear any encounters with the mysterious cloaked figure. The local authorities launched an investigation into these chilling occurrences, but they were unable to apprehend the enigmatic specter. Rumors swirled, and superstitions ran rampant. People started taking drastic measures to avoid being pointed at, and fear gripped Kentish Town. As the summer turned to autumn, the sightings gradually subsided, leaving behind a community scarred by a sense of foreboding and dread. To this day, the events of the Kentish Town Grim Reaper remain a mysterious and haunting chapter in the annals of unexplained phenomena. Whether it was a case of mass hysteria, a clever hoax, or something truly supernatural, it serves as a stark reminder of how the human imagination can give life to the most unsettling of legends. Certainly, let's delve deeper into the lore, history, myths, and legends surrounding the Grim Reaper, unearthing lesser-known tales that have fascinated and frightened cultures around the world. In Romanian folklore, there exists a spectral figure known as Doamna Alba or the White Lady. While not a direct equivalent of the Grim Reaper, she is associated with death. The White Lady is said to appear as a beautiful woman in white who lures people towards their demise or warns of impending doom. Her presence is often seen as an omen of death. In English and Celtic mythology, the black dog is often considered a harbinger of death. These ghostly canines are believed to roam the countryside, appearing to those whose time is near. Their presence is seen as a prelude to tragedy or death. The black dog legend has persisted in various forms throughout history. In Spanish-speaking cultures, the Grim Reaper is often referred to as La Parca or La Muerte. La Parca is portrayed as a skeletal figure wielding a scythe, much like the Grim Reaper. In some tales, she is depicted as a female figure who guides souls to the afterlife. La Parca is a central character in the popular Mexican holiday Dia de los Muertos. In Brittany, France, the Ankou is a figure associated with death. Often depicted as a skeletal figure with a scythe, the Ankou is believed to be a collector of souls. Legend has it that the Ankou can be seen riding a cart at night, collecting the souls of the deceased. In Irish folklore, the Grim Reaper-like figure known as the Moy Mel is associated with the afterlife. It is said to dwell in a realm beneath the sea, ferrying souls to the other world. The Moy Mel's mysterious underwater abode adds an intriguing dimension to the concept of death's journey. Chinese folklore introduces the ox-head and horse-face guardians, who serve as the escorts of souls to the afterlife. These fierce and imposing deities are tasked with ensuring that the souls of the deceased safely reach their destination. Their fearsome appearance is meant to deter any malevolent spirits that might seek to interfere. In the Galician region of Spain, the Santa Campana is a spectral procession led by a hooded figure carrying a lantern. This eerie procession is believed to foretell death, and those who accidentally join it are destined to die soon. To avoid this grim fate, witnesses must perform rituals and seek forgiveness. These lesser-known legends and myths offer a fascinating glimpse into the diverse ways in which cultures have grappled with the concept of death personified. Whether through spectral figures, supernatural animals, or otherworldly processions, the Grim Reaper's influence has woven a complex tapestry of beliefs and stories that continue to captivate the human imagination.